So what we really need to be, look at the bright side of things, that there is so much of good things about traveling, right? Because when you travel, you get to step away from all our daily stresses. I get away from teaching, I get away from dealing with all the mental health issues that I see around me, and get out of the, the whole 2x2 that I am stuck in. It's not that I don't like it. I do enjoy it, but yeah. And it improves heart health. Those who took more vacation days had fewer metabolic syndrome incidents or symptoms. And this is written in journals. So, you have to look at the bright side of it. That is really good for you. And it alleviates stress for prolonged periods of time. I've already talked about stress. You go to nature, it helps you to breathe better. So we get all the fresh air, you go and see something new, you open up your mind, and then you get away from productivity, and actually makes us a better employer. I know if I don't travel, I come back being quite grumpy. And so I need this. And of course, seeing the world can make you more creative. Okay. And really, I think it makes me come back, work extra hard, plan and connive for my next trip, and then I go off and I come back again. So there's always in your brain, there are all these dendrites. So there is a link between new experience and formation of dendrites. So with that, the first thing I did this year, why doesn't it move? Okay, next. Oh, this one.
Can click anyone.
Okay. The first place I did this year was go to Antarctica. Now, you must know that Antarctica is the seventh continent in the world. It is unlike the Arctic in the North Pole, because in the North Pole is just ice. But Antarctica is a landmass covered with ice. So it has got 5.5 million square miles, is covered by ice sheet. And of course, there's the territorial claim by Argentina and all the countries that are written there, which I can't see because it's covered by that. So this is the landmass of Antarctica. So what I have to cut short. So what did we do? This one, right? Or anywhere, right? So what did we do? I took 1 month off. I planned it last year. I have to show, how long our journey took. It's like from January 16 to February 12, from Penang, KL, Amsterdam, Paris, Santiago, and then from flight to Santiago to Punta Arenas. And then we go overland from Punta Arenas to Porto Natales, where we take a cruise, and then we cruise on the inner passages here. Still haven't reached Antarctica yet. And then we got down at, Cape Horn is the southernmost part of South America. In fact, it's the southernmost part of landmass, actually. And then we took a ship from Ushuaia, which is the southernmost tip. Where is it? Eyesight not very good. From somewhere here to Antarctica and back. And then finally you fly from there to Amsterdam, KL, Penang, and finally back home. But what I wanted to say is that if I work, I work. If I play, I play. So I actually reached Penang at 9:30 at night on the 12th of February this year, 9:30 p.m. By 7:30 a.m. the next morning, I was at work. So if anyone wants to say jet lag, all the rubbish, forget all of it. You go to work, survive for 1 day, go home and sleep, which is what I did. So this is better. Okay. So when we were on, and yes, from the window in Ushuaia, we're looking out for a boat. I've seen pictures of the boat. And I was like, hey, is this the one? Is it the one? Or could it be this? And then we looked at the picture, and this was our boat. We thought it would be something big, but it is small. It is really tiny. And the problem about this is that, or the good thing about it, it is the Antarctic expeditions. For anyone who wants to go to Antarctica, this is the expensive way. There is a cheaper way. You can take a cruise boat from from Buenos Aires, cruise all the way down south and come back up. It's comfortable. You've got all the bars, the spa inside, the massage and so forth. Inside this boat, the tiny boat, don't expect anything. But the difference is it is Antarctic expeditions. That means every day you land at two or three different points. You actually get down and everybody on the boat gets down. And just on the first night itself, you know, as you're driving, going out from Cape Horn, you see, this was actually dolphins I could see. I wasn't very fast at taking the pictures, so I couldn't take the dolphins jumping. But it was experience out of this world. The thing about it is we have to pass the Drake Passage. You ask anybody about the Drake Passage, you Google the Drake Passage, it is the most notorious sea in the world. Notorious meaning the currents meet no resistance. So you have sometimes, they call it the what? The Drake Lake or the Drake Shake. So we were a bit lucky in the sense that we were between the lake and the shake, because lake means it's calm and peaceful. Shake means there will be sea waters coming all over the thing and you just don't see anything because the ship was so small. But a small ship is very good in the sense that you're so close to the sea. So you can see everything around you. Like if you're in a cruise ship, you're high up there, you want to see the whales, you want to see the dolphins, you're quite far away. Here it's almost like touching there. You see the penguins jumping in the sea, it's also close to you. So this is actually a nice calm day, but the water goes up and then it comes down, and then it goes up and then it comes down. And this goes on for almost 48 hours going and 48 hours coming back. So the ship doctor will give you enough Cinnarizine to fall asleep. My roommate never left her room, but I lived in the lounge downstairs because it was too good to miss. So half the time they'll have a lot of lectures, or what happens, I have to listen to lecture and I'll fall asleep, get up, because the tablets put you to sleep anyway. So it was experience like no other. So this is the captain giving us yeah, right. Captain giving us actually warning us, because we want to know, is it the lake or the shake? He says it's not the lake, it's not the shake, it's somewhere in between. So it was okay. Only thing is, you know, you have to walk up the ship galleys and they put their ropes for you, so that when the ship moves and shakes, you need to go up to your room and come down. But they give you the, you know, the boots and everything. So these are some of the night scenes. It was awesome, out of this world. But like I mentioned, for this ship, what's nice is that they have this thing called Zodiac boats. So every day they have about 2 or 3 landings a day, and everyone goes down. But only thing, before you go down, you have to wear your jacket, you have to wear your inner clothes, you have to wear your raincoat, you have to wear the boots, you have to, and then they will disinfect you before you go and after you come back. So they will check whether you've got your tag on it, just in case you get lost and don't come back to the boat. They will take the tag, put it back to make sure no one is lost. So these are the Zodiac boats. And yeah, this is the Zodiac boats. Okay. But what we saw is an amazing amount of birds. I can't put so many pictures, so I had to, you know, just put a few. You see the different kinds of penguins that are walking right in front of you. So the only thing they tell you is, if a penguin is coming to your path, you just stop and don't move, because it's their world anyway. So you see, oh, we saw these penguins molting, and then you know, they are just absolutely cute. Cute and extremely smelly. You know that there are penguins nearby when you come out into the ship and you get the smell. The smell of the penguin poop is so strong, so strong. The hills would be like green color or red color, depending on the penguin. That's the color of their poop. So you see them in action, you know, like the mother lays only 2 eggs. Okay, 2 eggs. So when the eggs hatch, the mother will go out to the sea to get food and come back. So when she comes back with food in her mouth, the two little penguins all around, they'll be chasing her for food. And only one will get it most of the time, which means the other penguin usually withers and dies. So if they're lucky, then two will be alive. So we saw these are the gentoo penguins. We learned to differentiate all. This is the Adelie penguins, and they are all right in front of us. This is the chinstrap penguins. So you can see the boat comes and we land right there in the midst of it all, which in a cruise, you won't be able to see this. So that is, and in the sea, you can see the penguins just jumping right down in front of you. The seals, all the different kind of seals. It won't make any difference, you know. So this is all the places that we landed. But the good thing about a small ship is there was once we were actually supposed to land and the weather was so bad. And the captain said, no, we will not even try because the weather, you know, the weather was going to be so bad. He said, we'll jump into the ship and we will travel. So which is why they travel, I think, from somewhere 3, 4, all the way to here to escape the bad weather. And you can do it because it's a small boat, but you can't do it if it's a cruise ship. So we see all the different kinds of seals and everywhere. So, yeah. And we see the bones of dead whales. And, you know, the olden days, they used to do whaling. So these are the whaling boats, the whale bones. And somebody asked, how's the food out there? Food in the boat is actually not bad. Fixed meal is either veg or whatever else is served. So that is the food. You can see not too bad. But one great thing is whales. Whales everywhere and all around. I think at least 50 whales I saw. At least I'm not very fast in my phone because most of the time you're just looking, you know, so you don't get, so I missed most of that. So whales, the iceberg, the flows, it is just amazing. There's one part where they have this ice floating there, but I only realized there's also a thing called black ice. This is, you know, like the scraped ice, like ice kacang kind of ice, right? But this one, in between it all, you will see what they call black ice. Black ice is pristine water, solid. So they pick it and they bring it back and they serve it in the bar. So this one was actually picked out on one of our trips. So free ice. Free ice. So these are all our, what do you call it? The sights and scenery. It is beyond, I don't know what to describe. And this is our boat, you know, it's so low, which is why you can see everything. Unlike, you know, you're in a cruise ship, you're up there. It's like almost touching our tiny little boat, which rock like anything during, you know. So these are all the scenes from landing in Antarctica. When cold, we just go into the lounge and we sit there. So there are also what you see, all the whaling centers, research stations. You can see that, you know, some of it have, they don't have the whaling centers anymore. So there are research. But one thing for all the ladies who are here, a lot of ladies travel alone. So there's nothing, and I do like to travel with not a big group. There were times I used to travel in a big group, but traveling in a big group with your friends is like never leaving home. You go there, you party among yourself, you have a great time with your friends, and then you come back and you don't have any experience. So this was a single ladies traveling alone. So it's really very nice. And after 4 years of planning and all the COVID, I planned for 4 years. I was supposed to go before COVID. It never worked out, but we finally, you know, did it. So in this whole thing, I wanted list what I wanted. Go to Valparaiso, Patagonia, glacier carving, you know, the glacier falls into the ocean. I wanted to see that. I want to see Wales, Cape Horn, Antarctica. In between, we went to Eva Peron's grave in Buenos Aires and tango show. But there was something I really wanted to do. I wanted to jump into Antarctica waters. And I did it. So this was in my bucket list to take the polar dip. So really, I did that. So the thing is, everywhere around the corner, there may wait a new road or a secret gate. So, but you see, you think that is beautiful. This is Patagonia. The view cannot be caught with the camera. It is so amazingly beautiful. And the scenery, the mountains, and everything. This was on the earlier trip. So I also made it to Cape Horn. But what I message is that travel need not be expensive. I have traveled a lot. And this is my trip to Mongolia. I went alone, totally alone. What I did was I actually went in a few years ago. I felt like, we are so lucky. Okay, I'll go work in an orphanage. And I said, I don't want to be a doctor in the orphanage because, I said, I just want to take care of the kids. So I went and worked in the orphanage. But what happened is, the moment the doctor said, hey, you're a doctor, he says, okay, I'm going on leave. You take over the clinic. I took over the clinic, but all these kids don't speak English. I don't speak Mongolian. And when I was doing this, I was staying in a guest house. In a guest house, the first, they pick me up in Ulaanbaatar. I stay in the guest house. So I arrive at night. They take me into the guest house, and he gave me my room. I looked around. Guy. 6 beds. Me. I sent a message to my daughter. I'm in a room with 5 guys. Amma, be careful. So, but it was really very safe. So I was in this dormitory with 5 guys. There was one Australian guy. Actually, they were all nice, except the Australian guy was sitting up there and he was stoned out of his head. And for all the time I was there, he was perpetually in the room, stoned. His eyes looked like they were going round and round, but he was quite harmless. So anyway, after in this orphanage, I don't understand a word, but a lot of foreigners are living there, and one guy gave me a book. So in the book is English, Mongolian, how to pronounce it Mongolian. So how I communicate with the children is English, the Mongolian word is there, I point them to the word, they look at me, what they pronounce. So that is how, but only the minimal medication or whatever it is, all the safe ones. So some of them there's a policewoman there and she gave the epileptic, some had epilepsy, but it's very sad. Some of them had a lot of fractures because they're very rough, fractures that never healed. And they're beautiful kids, so it was quite sad. So after that, I went on my own into the desert for 7 days. So this is my girl. This is the Russian trucks that you go in. You have a driver and you have a guide. So the driver or the guide will cook for you at the back of the van. So the first day was so nice. He said, what did you make? You made lamb. I love lamb. Lamb, potatoes, this. Second day, lamb. Okay. Third day, lamb. And I said, where's the lamb? It's sun, hot. There's no fridge. Then I said, I'm sorry, I'm vegetarian. So after that, I became vegetarian. I didn't want. So this is my girl where I stay. And this is my toilet. So the toilet, when you go near, looks like this. But it doesn't matter because it opens up into the desert and there's nobody there. Just carry a torchlight when you go. So anyway, there was this guy, I was helping him staying because he had family there, So I was helping him to put the posts for the camels one day. And then he called me inside and he gave me something. He said, try. And I tried. I don't know what it was. I think it was snuff. But anyway, I survived. So, yeah. So, okay. So overall, so far I've been to 94 countries. That's true. These are all the countries because I put it into the 3 pulse. And but like I said, no, it doesn't need to be expensive. It depends on what you want to do. And going with the group is nice, but like I said, if you go in a big group, what do the ladies want to do? They want to shop. I don't want to shop. I want to feel, I want to experience, I want to, not to sit there in one shopping complex, go up and down and see the best. I'm sorry, it's got nothing to do with ladies, guys do it too. Huh? Okay, so this was in Egypt, and again, I went alone. Machu Picchu, 2 of us, and then in Africa. But this was in Serengeti, my friendly lion at the bottom there. So it's again, totally I went alone. But this year I did Antarctica. A few months later, I went to Tunisia and Algeria. And then I came back and went to Spain, Portugal, Andorra. And then I came back, I went to Australia. That one because children are there. So this is Algeria. So if you're alone, you get to do all this. And this is, you know what this is? This is the bluefin tuna. By right, you shouldn't. It is endangered species. But in Algeria, they were, catching this and they were eating it. I suppose if it's big, it's fine. And these 2 are in Tunisia. If you recognize this is the Star Wars set. Where, what's his name? Luke Skywalker, when he was a child, he was, zooming through in and out. And this one, where is it? Sorry, yeah. These are the troglodyte houses there, because these people live, the Berbers live in these kind of houses. So that is in Tunisia. Then I also went to Zanzibar alone. So I was on the boat by myself, sitting there. So I said, okay, I'll be safe. I took business class boat. Then there was a black guy sitting beside me, and it's like, what is that sound? What is that sound? And looked at him, and then he looked at me. Then he opened his bag, and this chicken put his head out. So it's quite fun traveling alone because you get to do all this. And this one is in Oman. I went 2 nights into a desert safari. Again, I went alone. Desert safari in Oman. And I think those have been here. This is in Peru, the floating islands of Peru. I went with a friend. But I always take care of personal safety. This one is actually in Palmyra, Syria. If you remember February 2011, just before the war broke out, we didn't know. We had gone, this was another friend of mine, lady. We traveled from Jordan, which was fine. We crossed the border into Syria. And when we were in Syria, it was like, I said, hey, for me, Facebook is essential. It's more like telling my son who's here, daughter who said, is that I'm safe and this is where I am. You see the pictures, you can identify. But there's no Facebook. So he asked the guy, what happened? Why no Facebook? He says no, because at that time, Arab Spring was going on in Egypt. And he said people use Facebook to group together and fight. Okay, so no Facebook is a little bit dicey because we were not really contactable with our families. So anyway, we are around. I remember this Palmyra is totally destroyed now. This is how Palmyra looks now. And we were there. And that night we were staying in a hotel in Palmyra. So we were going to go out for dinner. But then we came down to, said, we asked the reception, why is it there's nobody in this hotel? Absolutely no room was lit up, no guest at all in the hotel. Then the lady said, no, it's because, it's off season and so forth. And they took us, we were dressed up. We went for dinner. Nobody in the whole restaurant, only the 2 of us ladies, 3 or 4 guys sitting in one corner there and just staring at us. So it was like, we don't feel comfortable, but never mind, we finished our dinner, we went home. So you think that that's the end. Then we had to cross the border we're going to Lebanon. So when you cross the border into Lebanon, first of all, we come from a Muslim country, but we don't look like Muslims because we don't cover our hair. So there she's taking the shawl over our head and everything. So we go to the border and we're standing at the border now waiting to cross. All men with machine guns. And we told the driver, let us, we wait here, you go take our passports. And they said, no, you have to come out of the car. So what comes out is our vibhuti. Put vibhuti. Okay. See, wipe also, cannot show the vibhuti there. Put and wipe it off. So then we go, Muslim country, yeah, Muslim country. Malaysia, yeah, Malaysia. So they let us cross into Lebanon. Gosh, the moment we go into Lebanon, because it's so bright, it's so nice, we were like, thrilled. No machine guns, no nothing. It was really quite scary. So what you want to say is, only you can decide what is most important in our life. Personally, I won't take a risk. There are some countries I will never want to go. I don't want to go to Afghanistan. Why on earth would I want to go to a country where women are not treated as equals? I will never do that. I think it's stupid. I will think twice about Pakistan. Maybe I will go in a big group. I think if I do in a big group, probably Pakistan. But I'll be very careful about the countries I go to. Because now I'm planning to do that Zambia, Zimbabwe, Namibia, and it's also alone. But let's see what happens. So what we're trying to tell is when I first started, we had children, we had all this, bills to pay and everything. Couldn't afford a lot of travel. Antarctica cost me one arm and one leg. So anyone asked me, I won't say how much, but it was one arm and one leg. But I saved during the whole COVID for this. So it was really expensive. But what we tell is that, look for deals. There's always deals there. But at the moment, cost of airfare is very expensive, really expensive. I know. So there is one site that gives me a lot of support. It is solo in style. Women over 50 traveling solo and love it. I'm over 60 plus. So, and you get a lot of ideas from these ladies. I mean, I've been to Tiger's Nest as well. I've been to all these places. So what we tell, too old to travel, nah, age is not even a factor. Just make sure you have a reasonable amount of fitness, that you're fit to travel, and you think of all the benefits of traveling. So what I want to say and end is that travel is my therapy. I'm just planning where I'm going to go to next. I've got 3 in my bucket list. The problem is when we come to the age 70, travel insurance is hard to get. So I need to do the difficult ones before I reach 70. So thank you for listening. Yeah.
Obvious that did that start at an early age, or was this something you took up after you retired?
The story of that is so strange that nobody will believe it. It's not nice, actually. Oh. It started many years ago. I used to travel, but sometimes in groups, sometimes in small groups. And there were 3 of us ladies. We were supposed to go to Burma, right? So we all had, mine was ticket. Now we were a group of ladies, all 3 doctors, because one was a PhD holder, one was a dentist, and there's me. So when I was buying the ticket, I was, I'm always multitasking. I bought her ticket first. I forgot to put the word doctor for her. I put doctor for the dentist and I put doctor for myself. And then, then she pointed out immediately, you didn't put doctor for me. I said, oh, sorry, I'll change it and all. And I thought it was the end of it, but she wouldn't let go. Oh, you did it on purpose. She did it on purpose. It just blew up. She said, I'm not coming. Oh. So she said, I'm not coming. The other girl said, I don't want to get in the center of it. She gave up. I said, hang on, everybody. I'm going alone. So that's how it started, going to Burma alone. But I didn't end up in Burma alone. Other friends saw that I was going to Burma alone and said, cannot, Bina going to Burma alone, cannot, you all must go. So I ended up with a group of 6. But immediately after that was Mongolia. I went alone. So yeah, that's how it started.
How do you deal with feelings of uncertainty in foreign countries? How do you deal with that?
When I'm alone, you mean?
Mm.
There's certain things I always take care of. If I'm reaching late, like when I went to Morocco, I was reaching very late at night. I made sure I had my transport arranged. So I pay for that. I don't want to be stuck without transport, arriving in Morocco at about 12 something at night, midnight. So certain things I pay for it and make sure it's safe. And then I make sure the hotel is booked, and then I make sure that I reach the hotel and so forth. Toilets, I make sure, yeah, I make sure that I travel light with luggage that I can always handle myself. There will not be anything loose because I don't want that. So these are things you learn to take care when you're traveling alone. And my passport is always inside. Always inside. I never keep it out. And my extra credit cards are all inside. I don't put it out. Personal safety, self-preservation. And keep it. That's exercise.
In other words, she never put herself in a position where she needs to feel scared.
Yes.
Sometimes it is, there are certain times it's like, it'll be nice to have somebody to talk to. But always I will meet someone. You will see young ladies traveling alone everywhere. We think we are Malaysians, Indians, and we cannot travel alone. But I assure you, there are people traveling. I haven't seen single Indian ladies traveling alone, but there are ladies everywhere traveling alone.
Where do you find the best deals?
Huh?
Where do you find the best deals?
I mean, if you want to join by yourself or go by yourself, you can actually also join tours overseas as well. And you'll find, I think there's the Intrepid. That's how I got the word Intrepid. Intrepid has got travel sites that gives you basic, cheap, comfort, and 3 categories. So you follow the categories, and I don't mind where I go and where I stay as long as it's clean. I have hot water, and that's all I care. It needs to be clean because I'm beyond, like Mongolia, now 1 week without bathing and all. I think I can't be bathing. But Mongolia, I was living inside the sleeping bag, so, and tons of wet wipes. So
Nice.
Any questions? Which part, which country you have authorities?
we went to Galapagos. Again, the 2 of us ladies. We went to Galapagos. We came back, and then we already read. I read everything. So they told us, be careful of the authorities, because at that time there was a Malaysian Indian girl in prison in Peru or somewhere there because she was carrying drugs. So when we came to the airport, you had to go through before you reach the counter. So the policeman stopped us and asked for a passport. The moment we showed Malaysian passport, he said, come to the side. Then he says, 2 of them. He said, open your bags. So I had to be aggressive. I said, no. We open 1 bag first, because we already know. You open the bag, I will watch, because we didn't want them to put anything inside. So they opened our bags. We had some biscuits which had already, it was somewhere in Guayaquil, I think, because already expanded. They slashed everything. They opened everything, and then closed, only sealed. Then only we went to the other suitcase. Then, okay, we went, checked in. We were about to leave. They called our names again. And then this is when again the vibhuti comes out. Because we are going to board the plane. He called us and he brought us downstairs, two of us plus another American guy. He came to the suitcases again to open the suitcase. And this time there was this big black guy there with the dogs running around. So just open and nothing, then they let us go. So that one, some parts a bit scary.
Thank you.
Yes. Now a bit older, a bit more slower, a bit more careful. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
those on Zoom? You can. Maybe there.
Harini is there.
Maybe it was there just now.
Who?
Mauremia.
Oh, it's okay.
She has left.
Yeah, she has left.
Bina also here.
It was a very good sharing, Doctor. Thank you.
Okay. So any questions? Before? Okay, this one.
So sometimes thousand don't have the money and then insurance cannot cover it.
No, you have to take insurance. I take annual insurance. I take the maximum. When we went to Antarctica, they wanted to see our insurance, which must cover for how much? 100,000 US dollars. So I took the insurance for that. It covers for permanent death, disability, and everything for 100,000. So I take annual insurance every year, and I make sure it covers zone 3 because it covers everything. It works out cheaper anyway. Instead of,
Okay.
Trip by trip.
But certain countries are not covered. Syria is not covered by insurance. We have to buy a separate insurance. Some places are not. Actually, when we went to Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, I wrote to the Malaysian embassy because Lebanon was having some demonstrations and all. So I wrote to Malaysian embassy in Syria, I wrote Jordan, I wrote Lebanon. And then they said, all said, okay, we noted your thing. Syria wrote and says, we would prefer you postpone non-essential travel. I'm thinking Syria, Lebanon, every problem, why Syria telling us? So I sent my itinerary to them. I said, this is where we are going to be. I didn't think anything was going to happen in Syria. We left on February 4th, 2011. The war broke out just a week or two after that.
Something that you.
Any other questions? Naveen? Oh. Okay. Okay, shall I close? And say thank you. Okay, doctor, it's very, very fascinating, your story. The fact that you travel alone inspire other women to travel alone. I think your story as a solo traveler is quite inspiring. There are many. I learned one or two things here. I didn't know there's such a thing as Drake Passage, and I didn't know that penguins are smelly. Yeah. So as a mental health practitioner myself, I agree with you that travel is very good for the mental health.
It is.
But many years ago, I did a lecture on mental health to very senior citizens.
Oh.
English people. So it's of stress management, right? So I said, one way to relieve stress is to travel. And one of them said, Actually, Harry, travel for us is very stressful." I don't know what to say. Hey, we have to pack our bags. You know, I must find out who to look after my cats. You know, and we don't know where to get good fish and chips, and they're just going to Spain. So for them, travel is very stressful. But in general, we are all, I think, travelers. And like you say, I agree with you. It doesn't need to be expensive. And it's fascinating the fact that you tolerated the waves. So that is the indication of your health. Your tolerance. You have a good tolerance of being seasick. Yeah, and the difference between a small ship and a cruiser. So that is something to think about when we want to go on a cruise. Yeah. So very nice, very, very insightful, very interesting. Thank you so much for the tips and the insights. We all of us thank you for being our guests and telling us.
Thank you.